I'll never forget the sound Charlotte Blake made that morning, a cross between a police siren and a foghorn, as she charged barefoot across my driveway, waving a violation notice like she was serving a felony warrant. You ever seen someone threaten to tow a helicopter? Trust me, I hadn't either. Not until Charlotte. But that's Aspen Grove for you. A neighborhood where a garden gnome gets reported faster than a suspicious package at the airport. And suddenly, I was the #1 threat to community harmony just because my uncle left me a Bell 505 and a legal helipad with his old house. For a second, I thought it was a prank. Here's Charlotte, slippers on the wrong feet, hair in full tornado mode, acting like I'd landed a UFO on her begonias. "You have 72 hours to remove this machine or we tow," she shrieked. And I almost laughed until I saw she was dead serious. See, I'm Dylan Reeves. I don't like drama. I followed every rule, got FAA clearance, kept noise down, even had the documents laminated. My uncle taught me to prep for trouble. What he didn't warn me about was people like Charlotte, HOA presidents who treat a clipboard like a badge. The first time she confronted me, I tried to reason with her. Showed her my pilot's license, permits, even the HOA charter. Nothing in there said a word about helicopters. She stared at the papers like I'd handed her the Dead Sea Scrolls, huffed, and marched off like she'd just been insulted. Next morning, I find my mailbox stuffed with HOA flyers screaming about airborne threats, my helicopter's blurry photo splashed under bold red headlines. She wasn't kidding. She wanted me gone. That's when the real circus started. Suddenly, the board's lapdog, Russell Evans, poor guy always looked like he'd rather be at a root canal, shows up with a tape measure tiptoeing around my yard, pretending to check setbacks. Charlotte's out there with a phone, narrating every landing like I'm strafing the clubhouse. Note the aggression in the descent pattern. Lady, it's a Bell, not a Black Hawk. And now she's whispering to neighbors about helicopters attracting crime. I should have known it wouldn't stop with words. 2 days later, an official removal order shows up. Printed, signed, threatening, community hazard, and towing. As if anyone could just hook my chopper to a pickup and drag it down Main Street. I sent back a cease and desist with my lawyer's card attached. Even copied the FAA for good measure. You'd think that'd shut it down. Wrong. Charlotte escalates, calls an emergency HOA meeting, gives this slideshow called Operation Sky Menace, as if my flight logs are a national crisis. A few neighbors chuckle. Russell tries to hide under his chair, but Charlotte's in full crusader mode. I remind them, airspace isn't her turf, it's federal law. She actually snaps. This isn't about law, it's about neighborhood spirit. Her spirit looked a lot like obsession. Pretty soon, she's flying a drone past my window at midnight, crashing it into her own backyard. My security cam catches her crawling through the hedges in sequins, looking like a raccoon at a disco. The next morning, she's on the bulletin board blaming vandals for her drone mishap. You'd think it was funny, until it gets dangerous. The day I found the helicopter tampered with, my stomach dropped. Bolts gone from the rear rotor, landing skids loose, fuel cap scratched to hell. If I hadn't checked, I might not be telling this story at all. I called the cops, Officer took one look, said, "Looks like someone wanted you grounded. Or worse." Security footage caught a figure, clipboard in hand. Not exactly Sherlock Holmes stuff. I sent it all, video, report, everything, to my lawyer, the FAA, the board. I'd had enough. Time for a counterattack. I filed for a secondary landing zone, city greenbelt right in front of Charlotte's pristine lawn, FAA approved. Invited the whole block for a helicopter safety demo. Brought out the press. Let the kids climb in. Answered questions about noise, fuel, all of it. Suddenly, I'm not the menace. I'm the main event. Charlotte? She's lurking at the edge, grinding her teeth, watching her control slip away. The city tears down her decorative garden blockade, marks it all as unauthorized use. Then I landed that Bell 505 on the greenbelt in front of half the neighborhood. Kids cheering, parents filming. Charlotte didn't show her face, but you could feel her watching from behind those lace curtains, just dying inside. Didn't take long before she tried one last stunt. Called 911, tried to report a dangerous helicopter operation and a gas leak. Cops showed up, but I had every document ready. The lead officer just shook his head, said, "This is more paperwork than I get from most lawyers." Charlotte's tricks blew up in her face. The HOA board finally voted her out after a meeting where even Russell found his spine, and neighbors started telling their own Charlotte horror stories. You could feel the air shift. As she stormed out for the first time, nobody followed. So, what's left when the queen loses her crown? Just a woman, alone with her clipboard, and a pilot who proved the sky's not hers to control. Who do you think really won?